Hey, what's up guys? It's me C3 and I decided to make this video on tinnitus. I'm not sure if you pronounce it tinnitus or tinnitus. I'm not good at pronouncing words, but I'm gonna just call it tinnitus. And if you're one of those people who have it like me, yeah, it's a horrible thing to live with, isn't it? It's like one of those things. It's like a screw over problem. You don't know what it is until you have it, and and then it's too late, and then you're just screwed. And of course, it's a quite a depressing thing. And if you have it from the loud noise-induced damage, this is the more one I'm talking about from this perspective. You know, if you have it really bad, really loud, you probably just don't even care about life anymore. I'm pretty sure. And it's quite depressing. I'm not sure how you got it. If you know for sure it's from loud noise, from either work or too much partying or whatever. But I'm just gonna let you know about my experiences and my story and where I've gotten to, and I'm pretty sure you'll be interested in what I have to say. And I've learned a lot about it since 2015. I actually that's when I got it, the day pretty much after Halloween, and I was terrified. And when I started learning more about it and what it was called, I just also came across this old commercial I saw when I was a kid, like over 20 years ago. And I remember when I saw this commercial, I'll show you the title of it. You can actually watch it on YouTube. It's actually, someone did post it up on YouTube, so that's cool. Let me just show you the name of it. You should watch this video. The video is called Can You Hear? That's what the video is called. Sorry, I don't have a camcorder. But just type in Can You Hear? Tinnitus commercial, and you'll see this lady at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry, I don't have a camcorder, so I can't even record this properly. I'm just too lazy right now to do any video editing. But check out that old tinnitus commercial. That tinnitus commercial was around, I'm not sure if it was the late 80s or early 90s, but I remember seeing that when I was pretty much in elementary school, and I was one of those kids who was like, oh my gosh, I hope that never happens to me. And what the hell happened next? Well, it ended up happening to me, so I guess I'm screwed. And, I guess you're screwed too while you're watching this video. But check that video out. It kind of upsets me that, health-wise from the government, they don't seem to care about this problem. And it is a very serious problem because it's a health problem that tortures you. And who the hell wants to live with this forever? And I was mad after I just think to myself, like, how am I supposed to remember that commercial when I was a kid? They didn't play that commercial for decades. And then, of course, you forget that such a thing exists, and then, it ends up happening to you. Like, seriously, like, it's not educated, they don't give you brochures on tinnitus, and I don't know, maybe an offer of hearing aids or, earplugs when you go to a concert or you go to a club. There's nothing. There's no education. People are not informing people about this, and then it's, you get it and it's just a screw over. You know what I mean? So it is really a screw over health problem. But anyways, I'm going to get back to that. But, over the years of me knowing my dad, I noticed when he started doing a lot of construction, he started going deaf in his right ear, and I guess he has a hearing problem with his right ear. His left ear is fine. My mom has good hearing, but for me, I was just fine up until just recently, and I guess I am older. I'm pretty much around the same age when my dad started getting a hearing problem, but at the same time, I was working a new job, and it was a very loud job, and it also was over an hour away from where I live, so I drove long distance. I pretty much have been working long distance for 5 years, and the job I was doing at the time was working outside, not just in a loud environment with loud noises of pushing carts and using machines to push the carts. I at the time, I'm not, noticing that it's probably a lot on my ear, but also the weather, I work outside, summertime, wintertime, that has a big effect on your skin and your eardrums. And I was learning more about people who some people have tinnitus. This is the loud noise-induced damage type I'm talking about. Of course, there's the ETD one, the pistachio tube dysfunction one, or the one where there's this blockage of some type of liquid that can cause ringing. That's another type. That's another thing there. And then, of course, if you're taking certain medications or whatever, that can have side effects of ringing too. But, I'm talking about hearing damage from a loud noise. And what the hell can you do about it? So, about 2 years after I've been working at that place, pushing loud, noisy, clashing sounds and, pushing carts and hearing all this horrible noise, I ended up going to a special occasion of something. So I was far away. I was on a nice island in the Caribbean, and I was on a resort, and they had all the free rum and alcohol I could drink, because that's what comes with the whole vacation package. And for about 7 or 8 nights out of the 9 days I was there, I was hanging out with my buddies there. You're always getting pushed to drink lots of alcohol, and then you go to the club, the dance floor. People were trying to, get me to go. I went. Kind of, now that I'm thinking back on it, I wish I did spend my vacation differently at that time. But anyways, after the 8 or 9 days were done, and I came back to Canada, then Halloween, it was just like the day before Halloween, right? So I was getting ready to go out and club again and go partying, and man, I did go out with my cousin Halloween night. We dressed up in costumes, had a good time, and the next morning I woke up, I heard a noise, and it didn't go away, and that was quite terrifying. That's part of my story here. Give me one sec. I woke up, with this noise to my ear, and I was terrified, and I didn't know what it was, and I was scared. And, that's when I had to try to figure out what was going on, and it was depressing. And anytime, you hear the noises, the ringing, of course, gets louder. But before I continue this part of it, let me just think, after the years of now having it, and some of the things I actually was learning, part of that pretty much was due to the alcohol in the system. Alcohol, and I'll mention other ones, MSG and mercury fillings in your teeth. Anything that contributes to neurological damage, that helps with the whole problem, you see. And what I didn't know at the time, and what I still don't think a lot of people know at the time, is when you drink alcohol, your brain does not hear things as loud as they should be. So when I was doing all that partying and stuff, my ears are pretty much being really hit and damaged, destroyed, as I'm just listening to the music at a lower volume, thinking, okay, this volume sounds right, not realizing how loud it really was, especially when I was always going to the club, when I was on that resort, after I drank alcohol, or, you drink some when you got there. But for me, the 7, 8 days I did it, I was drinking alcohol before I went down to the dance floor. So already, the music always sounded more loud than I guess I knew it was. Throughout my life in the past, I always avoided loud music, especially going to clubs. I have been to clubs throughout my life in the past, but not really a history of drinking much alcohol. And why I was drinking a lot of alcohol is one, when I drink enough to get tipsy, it's easier for me just to dance, and I'm less shy. And it was free, because it was a part of the whole package when I was at the resort. So those are the two main reasons why I was drinking alcohol. So I didn't realize that, my ears are being damaged at a higher level, because of the loud noise, right? But also at the same time, alcohol can attribute to neurological damage. So it's kind of complicated sometimes to figure out where the damage is being done. If it's the inner ear where those hearing hairs are from the part that picks up all those different frequencies, or it's just the auditory nerve, the nerve that goes from your ear to your brain, or the part in your brain where it gets the hearing from. And after you, of course, you have hearing damage, and the ringing can spike sometimes when you are around a louder noise, especially around the frequencies where you damage the hearing in your own ear. It starts ringing louder and it spikes, right? A part of that is called hypercalousis. I was learning about this term. And I'm telling you, alcohol can have a tribute, the whole reasoning behind this. I don't know exactly your story of how you got your hearing damage in the ringing, but mine was through the alcohol. And sometimes I was offered a brownie and people are smoking ganja down there, so that just a little attributes probably, or maybe not. But hold on. But if you haven't looked into the term hypercalousis, if that's how you pronounce it, to look into that, because tinnitus is a hard thing to diagnose, and if it was through that, then I could probably help you here. Anyways, I think it's all related. And you could just be, once again, having too much MSG in your diet, this or that. The whole point is that if you have ringing in your ears and it's due to loud noise, I'm pretty sure it's all related to what I'm talking about right now. So look into that term. It's interesting to look into that. Another thing too, basically, like I was saying with my father being barely hearing much out of his right ear, and his left ear is normal for someone having good hearing. I noticed there's something going on here. There is a genetic thing here. Either when you damage the frequencies, either slow, medium, high, usually it's the higher ones. Whatever area of hearing that you damage, and where it's ringing from, that tells me you have a certain type of genetics. You are one of those types of people that have genes where you hear ringing on those certain frequencies that you'll never hear again, so it's just always ringing all the time. Versus the other types of people out there who have different genetics where whatever frequencies they damage from loud noise, they just go deaf and they never hear them again. So either you always hear them eternally or you never hear them eternally. Now, don't you think it's lucky for those other people? They don't have to be tortured by hearing this ringing all the time. And then, of course, if you go to a medical person, they don't know how to deal with you. Yeah, they can go to a specialist, they boom loud noises in your ear, all this kind of crap. And once again, the word cure never comes around, or, it's like, what gets really done? They can give you vitamins. I've gotten ear vitamins from my doctor. Has a lot of vitamin B in it, good for gray hair if you have any. But you know what? That did not do anything about the problem. In fact, my left ear has more of another type of tinnitus where it's the ETD one, where it's this tube thing. Sometimes you lie down and then it rings, sometimes you don't, or whatever. It's something about, it's the ETD type, which is not from loud hearing damage, but the vitamins that I've ever taken or gotten from the doctor, sometimes it affects it, or maybe it's producing more of whatever fluid that gets blocked sometimes, and then you hear the ringing. Or it's the same thing like when you squeeze tight and you hear a little bit of ringing. It's related to that. It's something... I don't know much about that different type of ringing that causes it. It's some type of disconnection like that, but that's for that. But for my tinnitus with the ringing that never goes away, 90% of it's in my right ear, about 10% of it's in my left ear. So I guess that's a damage I did do when I was on vacation. I know I'm delaying this video. I'm sorry, this is going to be a long video. I hope you can get through with it, or pause it and come back to it. But I really think you should keep watching this video, because I came across a lot of discoveries, and as of right now in 2018, I'm barely hearing any ringing. Don't worry, I'm soon going to get there, but it still helps if you try to watch the whole video, because I'm going to be showing you a bunch of things just coming up now. So please, just bear with me here. I know this video is kind of long, and I'm sorry, I'm not doing no video editing. I don't have any time for that, I'm sorry. So this is not a professional video, but I think it's going to be helpful to you. And I'm letting you know about my experiences and how I've pretty much reduced down a big amount of the ringing. like I was saying in the past, I drive over an hour to get to work, and I drive over an hour to get home. And sometimes I drive a car and it has low profile tires, so you're hearing a lot of noise on the road all the time. Sometimes when I'm done driving, my right ear, the eardrum, it feels puffy or like it vibrates sometimes, and I seriously hate that. Um, I notice if you wear earplugs, your eardrum will be it won't be affected like that. But anyways, when I first let me get back to the story now. When I first at the day after Halloween, when I first woke up and I heard that ringing for the first time in my life, and I was terrified. Um, I was afraid of loud noise. I couldn't be around anything. And the first thing I bought was a pair of these. These are nice. They did help. And I would only wear them when I'm at home, so they weren't embarrassing to be around, walking out around in the public. Or whenever I got in my car and I drove to work for an hour, I would just put them on. It doesn't reduce down the low frequencies. It's more like the high ones. So, and the funny thing is if you do certain jobs, maybe you're a bus driver, I don't know, or you drive a lot like me, or you work in a warehouse, you do construction, you club too much, you're a DJ, I don't know. Sometimes it's easy just to damage those low frequency ones or those high frequency ones. And I noticed that a lot of the ones you can damage, the low frequency ones, those low humming noises, you can get that eventually through driving or being on a bus all the time or being a bus driver or something. And it's a horrible noise to hear in a quiet room at night when you're trying to go to bed. It's awful. And eventually, I just stopped wearing this, and then I got into earplugs, right? And there's a thing about earplugs, and I guess this too. If you decide you're gonna wear earplugs or you are gonna wear these, you know what? Drill a hole inside each side. And yeah, you'll be hearing just a little bit more noise, but your ears need to breathe. And I learned that the very hard way over the first couple of years of me wearing earplugs all the times throughout my driving trips. Trust me, I don't care what nobody says. If you have the ringing in your ears and you're afraid to make things worse, and you're wearing earplugs right now, and of course it's recommended to, that's already depressing enough, especially buying them. And I was always recycling mine, and then I would clean them all the time. And don't get the hard ones. That also helped with the blockage of that liquid, the thing that comes from the ear tube that can cause the ringing as well. That's what I have on my left ear, the ETD, the stachio tube dysfunction. I think that's how you pronounce it. So don't wear earplugs that are too big for your ears. Another thing I came across with my discovery is that the hole on this side of my ear, my right ear, the whole passageway is a little bit bigger than my left ear. And I thought that was another interesting too. And then of course, if your ears are a little bit like mine where they're more wide out, you're going to be probably more prone to getting hearing damage because you're hearing things also louder if your ears are more out like this rather than flat back like this. So I have this problem where my ears are pushed out like this, and then the canal is a little bit bigger than this. So I noticed the earplugs would go in my right ear easier than my left ear. And that's funny how I have the ringing damage from my right ear. So see if the sizes in your ears are the same. Yeah, that could be another interesting thing to look into. So for my left ear, I started sometimes when I had the earplug. I don't have any right now because I don't use them anymore. I would sometimes cut off two sides, and then it'll be like a circle that's trimmed off like this. It's nice to make them fit nicer, especially when they're so pushed out and I'm going to go to a club. I chop them in half. I know some people are probably afraid of them getting stuck in your ear, but make sure you can get them out. You make sure you have long nails, you can reach and always get them out if you ever decide to do that. I can't really recommend any information to you because I'm not a doctor, and I'm just, once again, telling you things from my experiences. So if you decide to do anything here that I'm giving you advice on, that's your own responsibility. I will not be responsible for that. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to do is just, truly what I'm trying to do with this video is just let you know from my experiences of what worked for me. And other YouTubers, they do the same stupidness, they say the same dumb thing too. But I notice if you decide you're going to wear earplugs, maybe you should find a way to poke a hole right through the middle of it, or cut the edges off so at least some air can get in, because if you decide you're going to be wearing earplugs all the time for long periods of time, especially if you're already working in a warehouse or this or whatever, and your ears are not breathing, already you're going to be causing damage to the hearing cells in your ear and all that. And you're just not only not is your hearing problem not going to get better, it can possibly even get worse. So, but you know, to be honest, I only wear this now if I have to do some construction work. If I have to do any drilling or anything, I just put them on. If I have to do something that's loud, I put them on. That's just what I do. And these are more comfortable, and I don't even bother with earplugs anymore. This to me is more flexible. Yes, it's more big and awkward, but hey, I bought this only for $20. These are not bad for price. But trust me, I pretty much never wear these. Right now I'm just helping somebody finish a basement, and if I do any drilling, that's the only reason I wear this even. Otherwise than this, I don't even wear this anymore. Like I said, I don't wear earplugs anymore. So 6 months after I've been tolerating working at that place in that loud environment, which I still have that job, you know, I'm miserable, I'm depressed, my friends are laughing at me, still using it to drive to work. Anyways, I came across this thing when I was doing more research, and I'll show you what it's called. Give me one sec. It is called, sorry for the picture, Hyperbaric, I think that's how you pronounce it, Hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So there's probably some facilities around where you live. I only did this once with the softer capsules. I didn't do the one where it's the hard chamberic oxygen therapy tanks, but I did the softer ones. Pretty much, it did help reduce down some of the ringing. I was very excited about this, and I think there are some very interesting things to discover about this, especially when I was learning about oxygen. And, you know, if you decide to, you know, there's a lot of other benefits to doing this, but especially for your brain and neurological damage, and like I said, the ringing ears could be a part of brain damage due to neurological damage. This, you know, don't do the soft one. Well, I mean, do whatever. You have to make sure you can even do it. You have to, you know, seek medical advice on it first and see how much your body can take for pressure, you know, because there's a lot of pressure going against your body. Pretty much, it's about putting a lot of pressure against your body. You know, you go in the tank. It's like being an airplane, but it's a lot stronger than that. It's about having high levels of pressure squeezed up against your body in this tank for at least a half an hour, and a ton of oxygen gets into your system, and it starts helping, you know, heal and help parts of the body. And surprisingly, some people who do this, including me, from my own personal experience, it helped reduce down the ringing. So, but I didn't really do it because it's expensive. And remember, there's a difference between the hard chamber ones and the soft chamber ones, which is the soft chamber ones is like, it's sort of like a sleeping bag. It's all, the hard chamber ones, they could double the amount of pressure. But remember, you have to look into this. You have to, you don't even, it could be dangerous if you don't, if you don't get yourself into, so you'll have to definitely seek medical advice before you can even do that. But that's just an idea of, you know, it doesn't work for everybody. It helps with only a certain percentage of people, reducing down the ringing, especially from what they say. If you just got the tinnitus for the first time in your life and you do it in the first week, you might be able to. You might be able to cure it right away, just like that. And who the hell knows this information when you first just get this ringing that never goes away? Some people, they get the ringing and they have it for like 3 weeks or 1 week and it goes away. Me, I didn't get a warning. It just came the first day, the first time ever in my life, and it never ever went away. So it's not like you know what I mean? It's not like I had a second chance to, you know, prevent this from happening. But I was just upset at how much it costs. Like where I live, it's like 200 Canadian dollars a session. That's crazy. And of course, if you want to get, you know, they recommend somewhere between 10 to 50 sessions. Like, I cannot afford it. Who the hell can afford that? Months later, I came across this product called Aerobic Oxygen. Now, this did help me. it's when I first started it, I started using like 3 times a day. It tells you exactly how much you should use in a cup of water. So I used to put in my vitamin water. Not a good idea if you're having certain type of drinks. You could turn it into bleach. You never know. It's better just to have this of water, of course. And I started doing this a lot. So look into this product. You really might want to look into this product. This definitely reduced down the ringing. This really did do something, especially if you can't afford the hyperbaric oxygen therapy tank sessions. This really did something to me. Remember, it's not the same like regular oxygen water. This is the aerobic oxygen. There's a big difference there. But see if you can see if this can help. It helped me. I'm sorry. It's like I'm giving you advice, but really I'm trying to tell you what worked for me. I'm sorry about that. Don't do anything I say. You do that on your own risk. I'm sorry about that. I'm not really professional here. But anyways, this one did help me, the aerobic oxygen, and I used to put in my juice sometimes, but only certain juices. You have to be careful. It's better just to do this with water. And that did help, especially the first time I did this. And usually when you first try this, your ears just do a little pop. The thing I was also learning about hearing damage is that when you put your ears through a lot, your ears become oxygen starved. Your ears need a lot of oxygen, way more than you think it needs. And the Hyperacusis thing, products like this, it really does help. I wouldn't be surprised if some people are doing things with I can't remember. It's not important. Anyways, and another side effect I noticed too with doing this, especially if you do the 3 times a day or whatever, or a certain amount a day, I noticed that this actually, I think, boosts your pheromones, especially when it comes to things like falling in love. It's just my own, thought on that. There's something very interesting too. I have a feeling this does help your pheromones. If you try to attract you, I don't know. Anyways, there's something interesting about that though, as a interesting side effect, which is quite, not bad. Don't take it for granted. Right? You should. But yeah, that's another thing too I noticed when I started using this, and pretty much the extra oxygen, it helps with neurological things and helps with your ears. So to me, that's a plus. But the problem I found with this, if I stopped using this thing probably for a week or two, I noticed that the ringing was coming back. And I hate that, right? Like, who wants to be stuck taking something forever? Like, that's just BS. Like, that's not cool. So, hold on. But anyways, I kept taking it, and I recently kept taking it. Every once in a while, I still take some of this. I've actually had this bottle for months now. This one is a huge amount, but I mean a big size one. So this one is lasting me a long time. Did pay a pretty penny for this. You can get the smaller ones for a quarter of the price. But that did do something quite well for me here. And every once in a while, I still do take it. But like, don't get me wrong, it is what it is. So, the job that I was doing, where I was working outside, I noticed I was getting a lot of skin damage because I'm working in the sun all the time. My skin's aging, and then at the time, I didn't realize that gluten was also helping my face break out whenever I eat foods with gluten in it. But, I noticed that the sun, especially living up north, there's a lot of UVAB rays coming from the sun. There's a lot of radiation coming from the sun. I'm working outside all the time. My skin was starting to age. My face is breaking out really bad all the time. So I started to look into more of skincare. But like but throughout the years of me learning about the tinnitus, I'm learning that if you're one of those people who have like delicate skin, there's a possibility, like me, you have more sensitive hearing. It's like a part of the same type of tissue. Like, genetics can play a role here. And funny enough, like I said, I have weird genes where it's like, instead of me being deaf in my right ear, like my dad, I ended up getting the ringing instead. So, you know, genes do play a factor, and my skin also shows it. And my dad does have delicate skin. I have delicate skin, but I don't know. With my mom's combination of good hearing, I ended up getting the ringing instead of being the deaf. But my right ear fully didn't escape the complete bad genes. So, you know, I'm more sensitive, I guess, in the right ear. I'm not sure if it's due to the bigger ear canal or what. But, you know, that's just something to, you know, look into and, you know, ask your mom or dad how their hearing is and see if you could figure out anything there. Anyways, I looked into this supplement I started taking. You know, it just has biotin. Is it biotin or biotin? Chlorine, CHOLINE. I don't know how to pronounce that. You know, the biotin, BIOTINE, and some other, and just one other thing, like has bamboo in it. Pretty much those are the ingredients in this. You can look into this product. So I'm not saying I notice any difference with improving my hearing, but I would not be surprised if this is helping because it's helping with my skin. In fact, I don't even really take this anymore because I don't work at that place. I don't work in the sun anymore, and I just came across the discovery that I'm not getting those pus bumps anymore, and I guess inflammation breaks out on my face due to eating gluten food. So, and you know, that's funny that gluten in the wheat, like you know, typical flour, sadly pasta and stuff like that, bread, you know, has gluten in it. And it's funny, monosodium glutamate, MSG, you know, there's DSG, disodium glutamate, all these other tons of different types. So it's not just MSG. Anything that has something glutamate or gluten, usually to me, it's not a good thing. I avoid foods like those. And it was hard for me. Like, you know, I don't even eat regular Doritos anymore. I eat like organic Doritos. I eat more like healthy snacks. It took a while for me to change my diet. It's not easy. This stuff does take time. But the thing I don't eat now anymore is MSG. I just recently just stopped eating the wheat with the gluten. That was just a month ago. But throughout the years, I just avoid MSG like the plague. And I noticed, once again, like I was saying, like alcohol works a little differently, but it can attribute to neurological damage, especially MSG. Like, just stay away from that crap. Start reading everything you buy. And don't really buy too much soupy products. I notice they like to put in a lot of salty, powdery products, especially like soup and stuff like that. Buy chips that don't have the MSG in it. There's like, you could still buy Ruffles and Lay's and whatever else, things like those without it. I would avoid Doritos. Buy the organic ones. I'm sorry. I love Doritos, but I don't eat regular Doritos. I buy organic ones. Go to your health food section. Go to the health food store. To me, they cost regular price. Once you find out the right stores to start shopping to with better, healthier alternatives, a good part of the foods, it won't cost any more than the regular price, the regular ones. So avoid MSG. I mean, like, seriously. And hold on. And yeah, I keep pausing the video because I'm just trying to figure out what to say next. I'm just trying to keep this video